Right, the next one is also an issue of food, and it comes from a listener who raised a red flag around a vegetarian burger. Wendy, you've been doing quite a lot of research since that message came through. Tell us the context.
Very dedicated, Pippa, very dedicated.
Tough job, I know.
I got an email from Barendra Singh about Burger King's plant-based Whopper. That's what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I've been sitting in the Burger King as a vegetarian and my wife is vegan. On several occasions, I purchased the plant-based Whopper, which was delicious, I must say. But at no stage did the staff inform us that this was grilled in the beef griller. I was shocked when I read it on their website. There are no signs in store that sensitize one to the fact that it's being grilled on the beef griller. Well, it's actually in the beef griller, and that's part of the problem, Pippa, because after our show last week, I drove straight to the Burger King on the foreshore for research purposes, of course, but it was getting on quite late because I did a bit of work at the studio before I left, so it was very busy. And I did stand at that central desk and look up at those electronic hoardings to see that there is a little notice that says, please note these vegan burgers are not, patties are not are grilled along with, I forget the exact wording.
I've got the exact wording, and I think it's important to read it because they're not being marketed as vegan burgers, Wendy. It says, please note, our plant-based Whopper patty is cooked on the same grill as our beef Whopper patty. This means the plant-based Whopper is not vegan or vegetarian. It's there in black and white on the screen, but as you say, unless you are reading the fine print and paying attention, and if you're in the queue at a takeaway starving for your burger, you're not necessarily going to read that fine print, Wendy. But to be fair, it is there in black and white.
It is there in black and white. When I took this up with Burger King, in fact, I tweeted about it and they responded proactively.
Yep.
The CEO of Burger King, Johan Klopper, he met me. Their offices, it was the first Burger King in South Africa, that one on the foreshore, and their offices are upstairs. So he met me there last Wednesday with some colleagues, and went into the kitchen and saw the issue. The issue is that the Burger King broiler, American term, but griller basically is sort of a unit. It's not open grills and can't you just use one section of it, cordon it off and do the vegan patties there? Because the patties are certified vegan, right? They're definitely vegan on their own. It's just because of the way they're cooked that there could be cross-contamination with meat, particles of beef from the normal patties.
Right.
So it's not an open grill that you could just add, segregate a little bit for the vegan ones. It goes through a sort of a machine. You feed it on the one side and they come out cooked on the other, and in the middle of that process is some flame grilling that happens, right? So to have for it to be still be regarded as a vegan patty when it comes out the other side of that process, it would have to be in its own broiler, which is several hundred thousands of rand in itself, and then another few hundred to get it installed and all of that as well. And even on Meat Free Mondays, the demand isn't quite there. A lot of people embracing the Meat Free Monday things are flexitarian, so we're trying to cut down on their meat consumption and being grateful for products, fast food products at that, which enable them to do it. So they're not bothered about the fact that it's passing through the same griller, broiler apparatus as the meat patties.
Juice on it.
But they are very, Burger King is very sensitive to the issue though, and engaged very fully, and said their assumption is that people who eat vegan who are vegan are used to looking out for the little V symbols and whatever they are, the plant, the leaf or whatever, and so their their nuggets as well as their royals are vegan because they are cooked in separate deep fryers. They are deep fried products,
and in that case they have got a designated.
They have
way.
them,
okay.
But that logo, that imagery is not present on the plant-based Whopper product. They said we've got a dedicated page on our website and app explaining the terms, difference between plant-based, vegetarian, and vegan. I said, well, what do you think we should do differently? And I said, well, based on this complaint that we got, his wording was, let me just go back to it. He said, Nobody, at no stage did the staff inform us. This was very interesting.
Yeah.
And so I said that to the CEO. I said, could your staff not be trained when somebody orders the plant-based Whopper, that they say, please be aware, the patty is vegan, but the finished product is not. And they said, it's easier said than done. There's a lot of stuff that they have to deal with, and there's promos and at any given time and whatever. But for me, people absorb information, verbally the best.
Yeah.
It might be there a little small because there isn't really space to make it bigger on the hoarding, but just to be absolutely sure. So there's that limitation, and I would imagine that as demand for these products grows, so there would be a financial it would be financially viable to have a dedicated one, even if it's a lot smaller, to have to develop it, especially. He said, interestingly, according to the first plant-based friendly fast food franchise ranking report, which assesses plant-based offerings at top franchises in South Africa, the latest one, which survey ran until the end of February this year, the top three were Kauai, Spur, and Panarottis, scoring 10.5, 8.5, and 8 respectively. And that was followed by, in third place, by Burger King, fourth rather, Burger King and Simply Asia, which both scored 7. So
they're ahead of the other burger chains, at least, in terms of that assessment.
Interestingly enough, yes, it was, and I learned lots of stuff being there. I mean, I'm not really one for fast food products, so I hadn't realized how clean label they've gone. It's also a global imperative. So no preservatives, no none of these numbers and things. So it's all sort of very short ingredient lists and the rest. So it was a very interesting hour that I spent at Burger King last week, and it's an interesting trend to track, because obviously they're anticipating growth here for in vegetarian and vegan offerings, and it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out.
Yeah. So the $1 million question is, did you taste one of the not quite vegetarian burgers, Wendy?
I did. I bought, they have a junior, which is a little one.
Yep.
And I will admit that I ate it in the car on the way home, and it was very acceptable indeed. I mean, I as I said, I don't eat these products often, and I don't find that the beef patties in those QSR quick service restaurants have much really. I'm going to get smacked for this, but they're not very flavorful. So I think the substitute, it doesn't stand out as being any different. And if I'm going to eat a burger, it must have a pickle on it, and those have a pickle on it. And I'd managed not to mess my clothes, which was the biggest feat of all. So yes, all in the name of research, Pippa.
You do go the extra mile for us and the extra calorie.
I do.
Thank you.
Lunch with Pippa Hudson
on CapeTalk.